Welcome. What you are about to experience is thousands of images that have been created by mind. This is done through an ancient technology known as a dream machine. You give the machine a text prompt, and in return, you will receive an occult vision. Do not fear, for this is a tool. It can be used for good, or for evil.
Okay, so what's up everyone? You're probably wondering what the heck did I just watch? And that's perfect because we're about to explain everything, show you how you can do this, and also explain my knowledge and background in the subject matter. This is some seriously mind-blowing stuff, and you're about to see everyone using it, so I wanted to make a video fully breaking it down from our perspective. If you think about it, this video is really special because it views the technology from a completely different point of view. And I find that the way you describe and brand something also changes its power. I'm going to be showing you how you can create images from your mind in an occult visionary fashion using new technologies. But in order to get there, we first have to go through an introduction phase so that you can fully understand my position and also understand the background on how this technology even works. After we explain all this, it'll start to make a lot more sense on what the beginning film of images was. It was an art journey, an experience into another realm in which you witnessed the true power of this occult tool. To begin, let's be more clear on what we're discussing. This is a tool called Deep AI image creation. For this presentation, we used Midjourney and DALL-E 2. Midjourney is a Discord bot app that allows you to create images, but that's not really going to explain it just yet. Briefly, you type in some text, and then the bot or program will take that text and create an image for you. This has existed for a while, but it's basically getting to a whole nother level. It's insanely accurate. Let me just show you for a second. So, we're going to be completely honest with everyone. we have put Midjourney images in a past of the few videos, but it only started with the Charleston video. None of the argument points used the photos in terms of making actual references, but look, the cover photo? I typed aerial view of Charleston, South Carolina with a volcano erupting in the background in the style of Leonardo da Vinci. This is the level of detail we're talking about with the new image generation techniques. Not only that, but I can create hundreds of variations that are insanely good of this exact same concept. Ideas that I couldn't even fathom, but it gives me a starting point. Okay, so check this out. This is a behind the scenes from all the photos from that art film. For example, doors, hallways, buildings. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that even though the original text prompt might be something simple like, okay, I want a hallway that goes into the depths of the soul. Well, that's not always what you will type. So you kind of have to treat it like an artist. It's your job to visualize the goal in your head and find another way to get there through unlikely terms. You still have to be extremely creative to get the outcome in the way you want. It's not just going to do the thinking for you, but sure, it will come in and do some crazy stuff. Try thinking of other terms to use that will end up describing something similar to what you're after, and don't get afraid to be descriptive on what you're asking. DALL-E 2 is also an amazing tool that focuses more on hyperrealism and photo compositing, so they come out looking like straight up photographs. But yeah, none of the photographs in that art film, even the one during the repopulation stage, none of those were real. They were all created by DALL-E 2. Look at these buildings and then the orphans and even the mud flood photos. So DALL-E 2 definitely is better when it comes to giving a final result, but in terms of Midjourney, it seems to be better and even more accurate when it comes to more spiritual and occult matters. This is what the mainstream refers to as AI deep learning. Now, I disagree on labeling this technology as artificial intelligence. This is not the same consciousness that we possess, but you could say that it mimics a brain. For sure, but in order to understand this, we need to know more about this type of technology. For you developers, you're well aware that coding goes behind everything we do. There are many different coding languages, one of the most famous being Python, which even I was taught in school when I was learning to get my bachelor's in computer animation. They taught us because they wanted to learn how to make tools for Maya, but over the last decade, GitHub, NVIDIA, Google, they've all released open source deep learning algorithms and tools so that developers around the world can start to look into this stuff. I first learned about deep AI with Google Deep Dream. You guys remember with the weird dog faces? That was the first moment that I knew there was potential in this technology because as an artist and someone who's had many internal visions, I've seen these forms in my mind and they're just all so familiar. I love the art, I just didn't really like seeing all the dogs and cats. But there were some that showed a very interesting design when it came to architecture and imagining new worlds. This is after I graduated, so around 2014, they started releasing many of these things that you could start to play with yourself. They came out with style transfer. You could use AI to get a similar style of another painting or artist. I would do this all the time with my art. I'd try to get a style like Geiger, Picasso, or even DALL-E. It would transfer the brushstrokes and colors so that you could generate an entirely new image. For a while, that's all I really played with. And I'm not trying to give a full breakdown of machine learning because it actually goes way back to this book by Donald Hebb in 1949 that set this whole foundation for creating machine learning networks, and his whole approach was to create an artificial brain or neural network. Also, IBM has been doing this since the 50s with checkers and chess, and I do believe the tech was probably there even earlier. Only reason I bring it up is because everyone wants to call this AI or artificial intelligence. And in my opinion, I don't really think that's accurate. Sure, you can make the claim that it functions like a brain or neurons, but in terms of acting like a spiritual soul or a mind, This is only a function that a being with source consciousness can possess. Literally, machine learning or this AI, it's just code. It's a program. It is programmable will. What that means is that this program has no will of its own. If I don't tell it what to do, it will be completely useless. I think there's an intentional misdirection with the use of this word AI, and that is one of the most important points to take from this video. The reason is, it changes how you view this technology. Right? So if you look at it as a manifestation of will, or a program of code that simulates a brain in which you can feed it data sets and it will progressively and iteratively go through that loop and learn and advance in its understanding of what you want it to do with that data set. Okay, so you collect the data. Then you have to prepare that data. So just for an example, let's use images. You have to crop those images, you have to organize them, you have to name everything appropriately so that the computer can have some type of reference to what it is. Now, we have to create a model through a process called training, or we can use a pre-existing model. To train this model, we use an algorithm or code to teach the program to go through a new dataset. And if that sounds complicated or something, I promise it really isn't that hard. The hard part is learning the coding language. But once you understand Python, there are many resources for getting started in this stuff. But yeah, so you have to get a script that will make predictions on what you want it to do with this dataset. So say you're creating an image object detection system in which you feed this script a set of images, let's say of streets, and we want it to detect all the cars, and we also want it to draw a box around said object and label it as a car. Well, using tools like OpenCV, which is a collection of image processing tools for developers, we can get it to predict which images have cars in them. Now this is an iterative process, so every time there is an evaluator or a checker. This is done by writing even more code that checks the model every once in a while and it says, hey, this is how close you are to guessing whether that really is a car in the street. No, that's not a car, that's a dog. So you then give it a bad rating. And when it does pick a car, you give it a good rating, right? So over time, it gets better at recognizing what is a car and what's not a car, because it's gonna stay away from the bad ratings. And it just keeps searching and improving until its understanding of what a car is accurate. And sometimes these training processes can go over like 100,000 iterations, 500,000 iterations, and you need a pretty high-end GPU to do this. And at this point, you'll have a model where it's gone through so many iterations of what a car is. Now you can feed it any image of a street, even images that were outside of your dataset, and say, hey, how many cars are in this image, or where are the cars, and it will return the result. Now, that's the most basic example that I can give, but it's really all based around the same stuff. Okay, that's object detection. And after you teach the program to learn objects, now you need to get it to recognize image types. So say I wanted to find a certain image like maps. Well, there's a program that's been trained on maps, and now what we're looking for is going to be more accurate to our data set than if we were just to search by text. But I'll say this multiple times, that doesn't mean that it's AI. What makes it AI? We're gonna keep going, but so far, all we've done is learn to accurately store data, observe that data, make predictions that are iteratively improved over time by being told by an outside force whether it is correct or not. That's not even close to artificial intelligence, so can someone please explain to me why every mainstream business and corporation is labeling it as artificial intelligence? Seems like they desperately want to brand it that way. I'm sure you guys seen that Elon Musk video with this whole AI is going to destroy humanity or whatever. Yeah, that's what they want you to think. Don't think of this as an occult tool for magicians or anything. No, it's an AI. It has intelligence. Well, I don't really see any proof of that. And they call us conspiracy heads, yet they're willing to make massive leaps like that? I'm not gonna get super technical with you guys, even though I really could, but let's break down on how this image generation works. First, you have object detection. the system needs to be able to recognize images based on simple text prompts. So if you type in bird, in return you will get a bird, but also vice versa. You feed it an image of a bird and it will come back saying it's an image of a bird and what color it is. To expand on this, we need to create a language system that the AI or program can understand. We teach it to break down sentences so that we can understand the object, subject, verb, and adjectives of the sentence so that we can get an understanding of what is being described. From there, the program takes the text, breaks it into groups, and finds the corresponding images. Now, all these images have already gone through pre-training or another process called segmentation. This is the process of running a script through the images, creating a mask in which you highlight the object so that you can separate it in future commands. There's also sub-segmentation in which you can break down objects into multiple components. As for humans, you can break it down into hands, torso, head, legs. Once you type this text, it goes through your dataset, finds the corresponding image based on its training. Remember, where it did all the predictions and then it was corrected by some developer. Then, this program will grab the corresponding images in segments. Like I was saying, it comes with a mask. And then from there, it will start building the image based on the template and setup that the developers designed. And every program is different, right? So Midjourney has its own version and DALL-E 2 has its own version. This is an iterative process, so it's gonna do this 100 to 1,000 times depending on the settings that you put. You can actually see this once you type in the text into Midjourney. You will see it go through all of its iterations, and every time it'll smooth it out, go search the dataset for familiar or similar images, kind of composite or really stitch together these images in multiple stages. Now there are many different implementations of this. The earliest that I knew of was VQGAN, and that was around 2 years ago, and there was even DALL-E Mini for the last year, and it was pretty good. But recently, now we're getting to the main explanation, there have been some next level programs that have come out. The two best ones are Midjourney and DALL-E 2. And we're going to take a look at both of them, but I want to show you a tutorial. Okay, in my opinion, I like Midjourney the best, and I'll explain why. And no, I'm not promoting anything. This video is not sponsored by them at all. They have a feature in which you can add their bot to your Discord server. And honestly, the Discord program for image generation is the best that I've seen, because sure, there could be better applications developed, but right now, all the ones that are out in the open are accepting a few inputs. And Midjourney, it gives you all sorts of ways to be able to search through your images, create variations that actually build upon each other. And so I truly find that Midjourney works the best in terms of an occult tool. Okay, so let me just give you a brief demo. So all you have to do is just imagine something. What would you like to imagine? Okay, so I'm going to imagine a tree on a hill with apples, and in the background is an ancient city with ruins and an eye in the sky. But furthermore, you can add "in the style of" to conform this description into a style. For example, let's pick an artist, Leonardo da Vinci. What will happen is you will get 4 results. From these 4 results, you can create even further variations. V1, V2 are the top row. V3, V4 is the bottom row. Pick the version you like the best, and it will use that as a reference for composition, and it will create another variation of that exact version. This becomes extremely powerful as a design tool. And I know what you're thinking. Holy shit, this is probably not a good thing. Well, maybe some of you are thinking that. And I wouldn't really argue against it. It's a powerful tool. But so is speech. Do you believe that speech could be used for good or evil? Just because something is used for evil doesn't mean we should take it away. This whole AI stuff, which is really just advanced coding, scripting, that has been programmed to artificially learn and make decisions. But no matter what, this stuff is coming and we can't ignore it, and we can't let it take over. What we can do is use it to create art, to connect with our inner being, and explore other worlds otherwise impossible to explore. I mean, think about it. I'm telling you that all of you can be artists now. You can write, correct? Well, if you can write, you can also think. And if you can think, you can imagine. I-mag-in, a nation of magicians? But we could use these occult powers to better connect with spiritual forces. If your argument is, well, this is new technology and we should run away, then why are you using a phone? Or even watching this video for that matter? You have already conformed to the progression of technology. If you ignore it, it will go on without you. But if you try to adapt, sure, I don't want them putting cables in my butt, but that's not what this is. This is an art tool where I don't have to use it if I don't want to. It's literally just a program. You have no problem using Photoshop, right? It's the same thing, just someone made a more advanced approach where the computer can learn from pre-approved results scripted by a developer as it continues to make predictions. It's really just a handy tool, and sure, it can be abused, but you can't just ignore it. It's better to know because, honestly, it's not there yet in terms of accuracy and realism. I know a Midjourney image when I see one. But don't get me wrong, this thing can really create some imagery. For example, biblical scenes. How about if you're trying to connect with a spiritual goddess or even another realm? What if you're trying to get a picture of Tartaria in the ancient past? Well, this is it. And there's nothing to fear. All you have to do is be willing to ask questions, and this device allows you to get a picture of it. Sure, you could say it's some demon elite tool or something that sounds scary, but literally, you can go make these apps yourself. Go to GitHub, download the source code for VQGAN clip, and then learn Python. You could start doing this in a month. Now, obviously Midjourney is next level, but they still have a database of pictures that you're essentially searching through, and I even suspect that it's doing some kind of real-time Google search, right? But the machine learning algorithm then chooses these different images and basically stitches or composites the image together. It's really just a tool that can be used for artists. Sure, you could say it's going to take over the industry. I don't really think so. They've been saying that forever, and like I said, it's not perfect. That's because it's not an actual entity or a being giving you visions. It's just a programmed will. Each image has been tagged with certain phrases, and so your sentence gets translated by the program, and in result, you get a digital artwork created by the computer, which is not artificial intelligence. It's just a script or a list of commands that follow a model that was trained on a database, which was all programmed by a human's will. This is just a tool of our will, and it is also an art form. You have to learn to communicate with it, you could say, or learn the right phrases and sentence structures to get the image in your head that you seek. DALL-E 2 is also very amazing. I saw this meme where it was like, DALL-E 2 is the photographer and Midjourney is like this hippie painter, and I find that to be very accurate. DALL-E 2 can literally do 3D models, and that blew my mind, so DALL-E 2 is the closest thing right now in terms of giving a realistic end result, and even photographs of architecture. It does a pretty mind-blowing job of giving you something exactly for what you asked. But even sometimes it can get weird with the old photographs. I like Midjourney because the variations on DALL-E 2 are not that great, and so Midjourney can continually progress and get better at what you want, and it's also very painterly, so there's a lot of room for error because it looks more like a digital art, whereas DALL-E 2 goes for something super realistic, and sometimes you may not really get exactly what you asked for, especially when it comes to spiritual scenes or very visionary experiences. I felt the need to bring this up because you all need to understand it. People are going to start using these in their videos, and yes, there's going to have to be a level of trust that you have with the people you follow. I only use these images when I'm trying to get you to imagine something, and I will do my best to make that clear. But in terms of using it for propaganda, like telling just blatant lies, I think that's wrong. And you will need to be familiar with these images because they all have a certain look to them. It's still not there yet. Like, I know Midjourney image when I see one. DALL-E 2 is getting close, but my point is, you're never gonna hear me say, oh my god, look at this image of an ancient building of Atlantis that was just discovered, and show you some AI image of some ruin or something, and then not give you any references. I just show you the AI image. It's honestly really stupid to use it for that, and you guys would know because there would be no references. But we're gonna be using this because this is extremely powerful for transferring visions. I can tell a story, and that's exactly what you just witnessed. You must see the beauty in this tool, and sure, you can make the argument that it must be used with balance. That's exactly what we're covering. So if you want to get started using this tool, you basically have to get on Discord. And seriously, I can't even promote them if I wanted. It's just that they have a feature where other servers can use their bot, so that's why I'm bringing it up. For people who are new to Discord, I probably should give a brief introduction so that I can motivate you to come over. But basically, it's like a huge AIM chat, one big group chat, but the difference is there are different boards, so it combines elements of a forum with group chatting. It's very interesting because you can exchange information and organize while at the same time communicating and connecting with others. Now, in this case, just imagine that you had a chat program, right? And you can hang out with your friends and literally just type /imagine, and you can imagine anything that's inside of your mind. Then bam, the chat has a bot or a program that's ready to respond. It will take your text and return an image. But the beauty is that we can all hang out and dream at the same time. We can imagine and create magic together in the same boards. And if you want to be private, you can do that as well. So if you're just wondering, okay, how can I do this? The traditional way is you type Midjourney on Google, you go to their site, join the Discord, make sure you have a Discord account, and then join their server, get on one of the dream boards, and start imagining. But that's no fun. There are almost 1 million people on that Midjourney server, and I don't think you'll have the same experience. But imagine if you came on the MU server, right? And they have a tool that allows us to move their bot into our server so you can chill in the Mind Unveiled server, communicate with other like-minded people who are interested in Tartaria, occult, and alternative history, and then just imagine all the worlds that we can create together with our understanding. But okay, there's one more thing to explain. And like I said, I don't even have a link. I'm telling you to go search for it. So there's no way that they could, if this was a promotion, there's no way they could even keep record of it. But essentially, Midjourney is a service. I don't have anything to do with them, but we can get their bot on our server since we have a pretty big Discord with 2.4k people in it. I actually wanted to make this video sooner, but they would only allow servers with less than 1,000 people for the longest time, and just recently they updated it to 10,000. So you start off with a free trial, but you have to pay because it takes GPU resources. This tool takes up computer power and requires a pretty high-end machine with high VRAM, so of course you're basically renting a GPU when you use this tool. It's actually not that bad. They have multiple tiers, like a cheap one if you're just experimenting, and then I'm using the higher end one for $30 a month because it allows me to create unlimited images, so that's kind of important. Again, we really get no percentage of this, which honestly kind of sucks, but to be honest, we kind of are starting to look into creating our own version of this. What I wanted to do was wait to make this video until we had developed some version ourselves based on datasets that we had selected. Like you could imagine if we fed it Tartarian architecture, old world photos, and paintings that we have selected for exactly the images we're trying to create to tell a story. Even for occult purposes, it would be great if there were certain phrases and terms that would better understand what we're trying to create. But anyways, we need more devs, so if you happen to know anything about deep AI, training, or even Python, please feel free to message me on the Discord so we can further improve this technology and develop our own version. But until then, I figured it was kind of necessary to just get Midjourney set up since it's possible. It's basically the best one out right now. And it's going viral. So people are loving it. You're gonna start seeing it. So I figured I would explain it from a cult point of view, what it is, and how you can use it. So for Midjourney, you have to sign up for Discord. Alright, and once you do, message me or a mod and we'll walk you through everything. Discord is the easiest way to communicate with us, so if you have questions for us, I'd get on there. Plus, we're about to create other worlds together, so... Okay, a simple tutorial is, you just come into the Discord, then you have to follow the rules. There's a couple things that you have to read if it's your first time, okay? But then, you can join the dream board, alright? You can either use your free trial, or type /subscribe. That's how you do commands, okay? You just do the / thing. And if that's confusing, you probably should just message me and I'll explain it, all right? But once you set up your Discord account, okay? Or not just your Discord account, you also need to go onto the Midjourney website, all right? And subscribe there. But when you subscribe, it's gonna give you a link that you can go to, okay? Make sure that you do that with the same Discord account or the same email for your Discord account. Once that's all set up, you can start dreaming. Type /imagine, and then it'll say prompt, and within that, you can type whatever sentence or description that you want. Look through the board so that you can see different techniques. There's different words and different ways that you can do it so that you get more precise for what you're actually going for. But yeah, I thought this was crazy because everyone keeps saying AI, AI, artificial, oh my god, this is some superior intelligence that's going to wipe out art. And I mean, I guess you can see it that way, but I tend to see it as simply a reflection of what we program it to be. Without our will, nothing can be formed. So there is a beauty to it because it allows us to connect with not only ourselves, but other worlds. It also reminds me of ancient tech, like I said, from Atlantis, with these hologram machines that would create images and worlds for that matter. This is a tool that allows us to tell stories, bring you to other worlds. It really is art. It's not the AI. We chose those images. We pushed it to create certain styles. We trained it to do what we wanted, and in doing so, it begins to create variations that you couldn't have imagined, yet you pushed it in the direction you wanted it to go. So it's really all about art direction and picking the ones that fit the desired outcome. There really would have been no other way to do that beginning art film. First, you'd make a script for the story, okay? It has to be the narrative and all the different terms and tags that you want to go through, right? And then what we did is that Moon, Christos, and we created a board on the server, and we just started typing all those text prompts of that story, and we made this huge collection. Also, Christos is one of the mods on the server. He's an amazing artist. I would ask him questions because he has really fully learned how to use Midjourney to create some amazing imagery. He even has an Instagram called Sithelsafar. You should definitely go check it out. It's super cool. It's basically a way that you can tell stories, and you can do some really cinematic aspect ratios. So when you come into the Discord, if you need help, you can message Christos, Mine Unveiled, or any of the mods. But yeah, here it is. Here are all the images from the beginning. These are all the different terms and descriptions that we use, along with several variations. You can really create an entire story of humanity to be visualized. With that, I hope you enjoyed that art film and explanation. Let us know your thoughts, concerns, and if you're having a hard time with Discord, just make a comment. We'll come and help you, but it's in the description so that you can join. Remember that this is just a tool, and with that, all we can hope is that our minds may be unveiled.
Let go of everything you think to be true. Relax the mind and ask the question, do I truly understand what this reality is?